Today we're talking about N64. That's right. The video game console of my childhood, the Nintendo 64, is one of the most entertaining consoles on the planet. It's more or less the one that I grew up with, and quite possibly my favorite of the classic 3D consoles, although PS1 is pretty damn close. But I was in a Nintendo mood today, so I figured, you know what? I figured I'd give you guys my opinion on the 10 best games on the console. So without further ado, let's get started. Coming in at number 10 is kind of a cheat. It's Castlevania, as well as the continuation Castlevania Legacy of Darkness. I actually enjoy both of these games, but they're basically the same game. This game does have a different story and different characters, but it all uses most of the same locations as the first game and came out literally the same year as the first game. They're both very fun and entertaining, but they kind of go hand in hand. You kind of can't have one without the other. And on a technical level, these are not the best games. They actually are kind of clunky by today's standards. But this was my first Castlevania, and I absolutely love it. It's far from the best Castlevania. It's definitely no Symphony of the Night or Castlevania 4. But I'll always love this classic adventure and 3D platformer in the Castlevania N64 duology. I absolutely recommend both of these games. Legacy of Darkness is a little bit harder to find these days and more expensive. I even got mine with a faded label to save a few bucks. But all in all, highly recommended. Coming at number 9 is the classic shooter GoldenEye. This is one of the most fun multiplayer games out there, and the single player mode is also great. Based on the 1995 film with Pierce Brosnan, this 1997 game made by Rare is just very entertaining. Great shooting, great action, an amazing soundtrack. There's nothing not to love about this game, and I recommend it to anyone who is a fan of Bond or good action. You can actually purchase it now for the Xbox consoles as well as the Switch, and it's actually a pretty decent port. Some people have complained about that port, but I think it's actually pretty good. It recreates the original pretty well. Highly recommended. Coming in at number 8 is Resident Evil 2. This game is something of a miracle. They basically took a 2-disc PS1 game, put it on an N64 cart, which is significantly smaller in memory space and size, and added new features to it, and new control schemes, and new costumes. This, in my opinion, is the definitive version of the original Resident Evil 2. I don't necessarily like it more than the remake, but of the originals, this is the best version of the game, and I highly recommend it to anyone who loves good horror or good action. It is a little more pricey these days, but it is worth the money, and is the best version of the game. Coming in at number 6 is Mario Kart 64, my absolute favorite racing game of all time. This is just a great game with really fun multiplayer and single-player modes. The other Mario Kart games are fun, but they feel kind of floaty in comparison. This one feels the most tight and the most well-controlled of the Mario Kart series. And every time me and my brother hang out, we always play us some Mario Kart. It's just really entertaining. If you love good racing and having fun with friends or family, get this game. Coming in at number 6 is The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. The continuation to Ocarina of Time sees Link in a new world called Terminus, trying to stop the evil Majora's Mask, who's controlling the Skull Kid from the first game, to try to destroy the world and crash the moon into it. It's up to Link to save the day while traveling back in time and using his abilities to stop the evil. This is a very fun and entertaining sequel to the original, and it's a lot darker too. I even was lucky enough to get the lenticular cover, the one that moves back and forth, though it doesn't move that well, honestly, but it's still cool. I love this game. It's probably the darkest and most depressing of the Zelda games. It's very unique and very entertaining, although I would say avoid the 3DS port because it's kind of watered down. They basically simplified the controls, took away features, and it's just not that good. But if you can get yourself an original version or even the GameCube version of this game, I would highly recommend it. Coming in at number 5 is Banjo-Kazooie. I absolutely love Banjo-Kazooie, and it's my second favorite platformer on the console. This game has a great adventure, a very great sense of humor. It's probably the funniest game on the system, honestly. And it was just the start of something really special. It did have a sequel called Banjo-Tooie, which I also own, and I do not dislike Banjo-Tooie, but I feel it kind of lost the magic of this first game. just a little too bit overstuffed and overbloated. But this game is great. You play as Banjo and Kazooie, a bird on his back. It's up to you and this bird to travel Gruntilda's castle, who's this evil witch who's kidnapped Banjo's sister. And along the way, you run into goofy characters. There's fun platforming. You got to collect notes and jigsaw pieces. It's clearly somewhat inspired by Mario 64, but it is its own thing. Very fun, very amazing. And if you get the Rare Replay collection on Xbox, you can actually play it. And I highly recommend that game, by the way, Rare Replay. Very fun. You can't go wrong with Banjo-Kazooie. Coming in at number 4 is Mega Man 64. This game was also released on the PlayStation as Mega Man Legends, but I do prefer the N64 version because the controls are much better. The PS1 version, as well as the graphics, all the content from the PS1 version is here, and this is the definitive version of Mega Man Legends. I absolutely love me some Mega Man Legends, and this is the best version of that game. And to anyone who loves good action and good adventure, check this game out. This, as well as the sequel, which was only available on PlayStation, Legends 2, are my favorite Mega Man games, and they're just fun action, adventure, well, RPGs. There's some slight RPG elements to this game. Give this game a shot if you love Mega Man or good action or adventure. Coming in at number 3 is one of my favorite games of all time, Star Fox 64. Probably my favorite game that you can beat in under an hour. Star Fox 64 is a damn fun rail space shooter. You play as this character named Fox McCloud, and you help his team, known as Star Fox, go throughout the galaxy of Lilat and defeat the evil Andross. If you love good, fast-paced action, this is the game for you. And there's actually a really fun remake of it on the 3DS. Star Fox 64 is pure action from start to finish. It has a great multiplayer mode. It's just an awesome game. Coming in at number 2 is my favorite platformer of all time and my favorite Mario game of all time, and that is Super Mario 64. This game is fantastic. Great platforming, a fun story, very simple but very fun. Amazing looking graphics that were very simple for the time, but have held up very well because they didn't try to overdo it. You know, simple shading, simple colors. This game has amazing gameplay. Even to this day, it hasn't been topped in my opinion. While Mario games have played better, as far as controls and stuff go, I just feel this game just is the complete package. You go in, you get 120 stars, you get out. It's very fun. In my opinion, this is the best game that he's ever been in. There also was a DS remake called Super Mario 64 DS. And while it's not a bad game, I actually do own that one as well. The DS version doesn't have full analog control like the original. It's not nearly as fast, and its gameplay is a lot more restrictive. It does have more content and more characters, but it does feel slightly restricted in its gameplay compared to the original. But I'm not going to lie, I still recommend that version as well. They go good together. Play this game. It's available in 3D All-Stars, but none of these games can beat my favorite Nintendo 64 game, and quite possibly my favorite game of all time, and that is The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. An amazing story, great gameplay, awesome characters, really, really fun adventure. This is the first game that I ever played that, I felt immersed in the world. Before this, all games just kind of felt like games. Here, I felt like I was in Hyrule saving these people. You play as the hero Link, one of many Links, by the way, throughout the series, and you try to save Hyrule from this villain named Ganon, aka Ganondorf. Along the way, you meet a princess named Zelda. She gives you the Ocarina of Time, which allows you to manipulate time as you go on your journey to try to save Hyrule. This game is amazing. The soundtrack is probably my favorite in all of video games. The graphics, even by today's standards, still look pretty good. They're more simple, of course, being an older system, but they're still appealing to the eye. There's nothing not to love about this game. And if you have a 3DS, an amazing remake on that system, Ocarina of Time 3D. This game just makes me happy. There's no other way to put it. It's more than a game to me. It's a large part of my childhood. Me and my cousin were very tight growing up, and this was probably our favorite game to play together. And whenever I pop this sucker in, I just remember being a kid again. And it's not just nostalgia that makes this game so great. It's also the great gameplay that still holds up, as well as the amazing story and adventure. But it is probably the game above any other one that really takes me back to the past. Highly recommended. That's my list. Didn't mean to get all sentimental on you at the end there, but I do love these games. There are a few honorable mentions I figure I'd mention real quick, and they include Glover, which is a really fun and underrated 3D platformer. Fighting Force 64, although the PS1 version is probably a little bit better. I hate to say it, but Superman 64, this is a very flawed game, but I do have some fun with it, I'm not going to lie. Perfect Dark, which is a great companion piece to GoldenEye. I also really do recommend The World Is Not Enough, but probably not as good as this one or GoldenEye. I recommend Spider-Man as well. The PS1 version is probably a little bit better, but this is a really good port, and it has smoother graphics. I recommend Mario Party 2 and 3. I can only find 3. I do have 2 around here somewhere. I have a very faded label on 3, as you can see, but I did get this thing at a really cheap price, so it doesn't bother me too much. Donkey Kong 64. It's just a really great rare game that I think doesn't get the credit it deserves. Wave Race, a really, really fun water racing game. Toy Story 2, probably one of my favorite platformers on the system, not counting Mario and Banjo. Just really entertaining. And lastly, Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine, which would have been in 11th place if I added it to the list. Thank you all for watching. Sorry for this video for dragging on longer than it needed to, but I do love this console. If you have a chance and you haven't tried it out, I do recommend getting you an N64. They're relatively cheap still, so some of the games can be a bit pricey, but it's definitely worth it. And it's definitely the most nostalgic console in my collection. Thank you all for watching, and peace out.